So, welcome once again back to the broncolor studio. My name is Urs Recher. I have the pleasure to guide you today through a tiny still life. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the product features of the Picolite, especially the Picolite accessories. And today, actually, it's an application of this. So let me introduce the stars of this evening's session to you first. In position, kind of in position already, are the lamps. So 4 Picolites. One is here. This is going to be the first light we work with. There will be a projecting attachment on it. At the moment, hidden under the table is a second Picolite. Remember, all the Picolites, they have a max power of 1600 joules, so 1600 watt-seconds. That's the same. And we have over here, on this Picolite, we will have a Fresnel spot attachment in the end, and kind of the main light will be this Picolite coming as a backlight, top light. This will be equipped with honeycomb grids. So we have 4 Picolites around and 4 different light shapers like the Pico box, the Fresnel spot attachment, the honeycomb grids, and the projecting attachment. Very nice. These 4 accessories are available in a kit called the Picolite accessory kit. It comes in a very handy box, and actually all the specialized foam inside that everything is kept in space. So I hope you can see this. Yeah, looks good. So the Pico box again, so the one with the snoot and the 3 honeycomb grids. The one with the honeycomb grids as well has aperture masks to make the light angle even more narrow. Fresnel spot attachment, and last but not least, the one we start now with is the projecting attachment. Everything is nicely covered and protected by another foam and closed like that. All right, so that's what we talk about today. Yeah, we do not talk too much about the Picolite itself because it's just, let's say, the engine. It's just the lamp that produces the light energy. But of course, the more important part is the light shapers, which one we use, how we use them. Anyway, the rest of the setup, the 4 Picolites, sorry, are all connected to a Scoro power pack. I choose here the small Scoro, so the 1600 joules, that's plenty for this kind of setup. This light we will use in a very special way, and we actually will only use reflections of the object back on the set. So this requires a lot of light output. It will be equipped anyway with the projecting attachment that absorbs quite a lot of light. So that's why this one goes to a separate power pack to this Scoro 1600 here, and all the other 3 Picolites are connected to a second Scoro as well, 1600 S Wi-Fi. Good. I will give you later on the reading of the precise power setting, and we are actually shooting today not with the normal medium format camera that I use. Let's say that I used most of the time during these webinars. This time it's a mirrorless camera, full frame. You will see anyway later on, I will share the screen with you. You will see all the settings. Nevertheless, I'm using a zoom lens, and it's a 24-70 zoom, and I use it on 28 millimeters. So we are shooting with a dominant perspective today, very close to the object, on 28 millimeters. Aperture will be 14, shutter speed on the camera 125th of a second, but it's just a normal straightforward flash shot, so the shutter speed on the camera is irrelevant in this situation. ISO 100, synchronization between the camera and the power packs. Just let me check this quickly. Yes, okay, so with the RFS 2.1 trigger here on the camera, triggers my flashes, and I think we are almost kind of ready to go. The setup, I'm shooting these objects. It's actually, it's not a lipstick, but it's probably lip paint. I don't know, don't use it on a daily basis. So it's lip paint and a lip liner. That's what I know because I asked somebody. So a lip liner and lip paint together with a ring that just worked perfectly with the color and just to give some additional shape in the set. I'm shooting it on a very, it's small, and I'm shooting it on a white underground. So the table is covered with a white cardboard. Nevertheless, the object is red and white, and of course I would like to work additional with black because it's a classic combination of colors. So I would like to control my light good enough that we have dark parts in the shot as well. This is not big deal for this for a projecting attachment because a projecting attachment only illuminates a very, very small area of a set, so it's very easy to keep the rest in the dark. However, it's not easy at all, not self-explanatory at all, to have a fill-in light, to lower the contrast, to illuminate other parts in the set without hitting the table. So I would like to, obviously, to illuminate my objects as good as possible with a special effect from this light, as explained before, and then with the fill-in light, I would like not to destroy the entire mood of the photograph. And believe it or not, when I was preparing this, the idea, the emotional idea behind the shot, this worked after 2 minutes. So I just put this light there, fired it, and everything fine in no time. But I was really suffering and fighting with the fill-in lights. Yeah, so many times it's quite easy to come up with a nice dominant main light, a graphical idea, but then to work it out with additional lights that do not just destroy the basic idea, that's sometimes the very tricky part. Good. This is just for extra weight that nothing moves here. And yes, I think we are there. I would like to start now shooting or preparing the first light, which is the Picolite here coming from the left with the projecting attachment. After finishing the work on the projecting attachment and the Pico box, I will quickly sit behind the laptop and answer your questions. So if you have questions, if something is not properly explained during the live demo, please just type it in the chat. I will not be able to read all the comments because I have a filter on it, so I will only get the questions that my colleagues are not answering themselves immediately. So, but nevertheless, if you want to ask me something, use the chat on the right side, and then if the question comes through to me, I'm happy to answer it after the first 2 lights. Very good. Good, I think that's it. Now, I talked about the camera, so then this is the first light I'm going to use. Just very quickly, I would like to show it to you once again. So it's the projecting attachment. So it's an optical system. And we have 4 templates that we can push in or out. And like this, we can project any polygon we would like to have on a subject, on the background. Tiny lines. We can almost illuminate our photograph pixel by pixel. So it's super precise. Beside the templates, there are round aperture masks coming with it, and as well a slide holder, or if you would like to do to put in something else, like your own patterns, your own gobos, you can put these in as well. Right, good. I hope you can see it from there. Matte protecting glass is mounted here on this Picolite. Because we have an optical system, and optical system, they project a picture of the light source. And now if my light source is the flash tube, so it's a circular light, and if I project this, of course the illumination here would as well be very uneven. It would be like a ring of light and at the dark center where the modeling light is positioned. However, if you use the matte protecting glass, this is the new light source. And we are backlighting this matte protecting glass with the flash tube. And of course, this is absolutely even enough to create acceptable coverage, light coverage of the object. Let me put this on and switch on the power pack. And that's the only light I would like you to see from this perspective. So I'm quickly going to grab the camera and I would like to let you see from closer by what I'm actually doing. So that's why it's a little bit, it's a rough trip now. Let me just fix here a little bit another background. And show the object to you. Right, okay. So you're looking now from the other side. From the Picolite projecting attachment, I switch on the modeling lights and on full power, exactly. So you see what's happening right now. Now I can close here my templates. These are these black templates that I showed you before. So I can open and close here. Of course, I don't want to have any light on the table. So I close it. I do the same on the other side. Now it's coming on the right. And I close it from the top because I don't want it on the table either. On the left, something like this. And on the top, I can leave it more or less. If I close here too much, I would see this on the standing pen. It would be nice if just up here I would get as well a little bit like a yellow line, a white line, a nice rim. So I just open it that the entire standing lip paint as well receives some light. Maybe something like this. Okay, and I open it a little bit more on the lower end. Right, something like that on the left. Okay, good. So this looks kind of promising. So lots of light hitting here, and I'm going to work with the light reflected from this back on the white table. Maybe I have to do some fine adjustments later on. Nevertheless, let me put the camera back on the stand. Sorry for the shake or the shaking. Right, okay, so for the rest of the afternoon, you're safe. I can take this one away again. And I'm ready to shoot light number 1. All right, so let me just switch on. Okay, so sharing the screen with you, and we are shooting today with Capture One. Camera is connected. You see the readings again, 1/25 of a second, f14, ISO 100. And I think I'm ready for the first trial. Okay, there we go. Good. Okay, so that's already the idea. What I actually want to create is a reflection, a lot of a very dominant reflection of my white and reddish object back to the white underground. And that's exactly the reason why I'm working on this white table, because I want to work with this light effect. Now we see here at the very top where my hand is that the light is not sufficiently open, so I have to open the right template a little bit more. Otherwise I get a strange line there. Okay. It's just about where the hand is, just about these few millimeters up there, opening the template, and then the light goes all the way there. If I open it too much, then I would receive a line on the other side. I can quickly do this, so you have an idea how precise you can set up these lights. Now it's opened a little bit too much, and immediately you get this. So you can really, as I said, you can really illuminate your photograph almost pixel by pixel. It's a little tricky now. It's easier if you work in a dark studio, but now I have two strong LEDs left and right, so I don't see the modeling light very precisely, but this kind of makes sense. Let me check if I'm somewhere with the focus. Also, so of course I'm somewhere, but somewhere reasonable. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, good. So at the same time up here, this pregnant attachment as well gives me here this nice rim light, because up there the background will show a gradation, will be rather dark. So this line here is very, very welcome. Okay. Power-wise, I think it makes sense, but we definitively, or most probably, will come back again to the power settings at the end, because in the end all the lights have to work together nicely. Good, and now the tricky part. So how can we fill this in? As I said, if I come here with a soft box, or just with a kind of uncontrolled light, something from the top or something from above the table, of course the light immediately hits my white table. And if a white table only gets a little bit of light, immediately it shows up a rather bright gray, and all the nice color effect that I got now on the left of my picture would be destroyed. So yes, I do want to fill in my objects, but no, I don't want to have any light on the table. So if I do not want to have light on the table, I mean, the first idea that comes up is, let's put the light below the table. And that's what I'm going to do. I use the Pico box for this. Again, I've done this a few weeks ago. I would like to give you a close-up on the inner construction of this. So I just would like to let you here, exactly, I would like to let you have here a close look at this. So we have kind of two internal reflections or reflectors. And if I can tilt it the right way, an additional diffuser. So it's not just a box with an acrylic plate on the top. We have here at this height, we have two mirrors that are bouncing the light that comes here from the Picolite to the left and to the right to spread the light more evenly in the entire box. And this was not yet sufficient to have a very, very even light distribution on the front diffuser. So that's why on this height we have an additional diffuser from the same hard material, so an acrylic intermediate diffuser that guarantees that we have an extremely even coverage over the entire surface. Actually, from the corner to the center, we have just a loss of 1/10 of an f-stop. So it's really, really super, super even. In this situation, the way I'm going to use it right now, it's not so important, but it will become very important if you use it to create reflections on shiny objects, like on a watch or in jewelry photography. If you would like to have an even, sharp-edged, controlled highlight, then this is definitely the first choice. All right, good. So I mount this now here on this Picolite down here. Good. Fix it. Right. And as you can see, it's almost below the table. Actually, now it is below the table, too low. So I take it up a little bit. So this rim here is just on the same height as the table itself. Just to guarantee that there is some light hitting the object, I tilt it slightly like that. So there is actually this, there's a lot of light, or 99% of the light are hitting my camera, but I have the lens shade on, so this should not affect anything too badly. And by tilting it, I still hope that just the very edge of the light is illuminating my object. And that's the idea behind the fill-in light. All right. Maybe I can just show you the fill-in light only. I guess I have no idea which one it is. It's this one. Number 1. Yep, that's the one. So I'm going to shoot this one, sharing the screen with you. All right, back here. And now what you see now, that's the Pico box coming from below. So that's pretty close to what I need. It's illuminating here the front that was completely black. It's illuminating the front object that did not get any light at all so far. So yes, that's what the fill-in light has to do. And of course, here as well on the right side, on the right side of the ring, there's nothing there. So I get there my fill-in light. The front of the standing lip paint as well gets some light, but I have one problem, which is the writing here. The writing is dark, so the surface of this this box is actually matte, so it reflects the light, but this the sticker on it with the brand name on it, it's slightly shiny. So unfortunately, this does not reflect any light, so that's why it's rather dark and not nice. So this tells me already now that in the end, I will need some light down here, because from the camera angle, I look down to this label, and this most probably will reflect areas of the table here. So it would be an advantage if I had in this area down here some light. We'll take care of this later on. But I would like to see if these lights work properly together. So I switch on my light number 1. Projecting attachment comes back in, and let's have a look at these two lights together. Exactly, good. Maybe I can give the fill-in just a third more. It's still a little on the dark side, everything. So I give it a third more. For those that are interested in power settings, I gave you the setting of the camera before. Let me unshare the screen again. Right. So I gave you the camera reading before. It's ISO 100. I'm shooting at f14. The projecting attachment here, the strongest light, power-wise at least, has power 9.6 on a 1600 power pack. So this one has 1200 joules. So it's quite a lot. And here we are with the Pico box. We are on just above 6. 10 would be 1600, 9, 800, 400, 200, 100. So we have here 100 joules and 1200 joules for the moment. Right. Okay. So just quick check if there are already some questions coming in. That's not the case. Did I filter it correctly? Yes. Okay, very good. So this means we can continue. And now I would like to continue with probably the main light. It's I started, let's say, from a strange direction. I started with the effect light and then the fill-in light. The reason is this was the creative idea. So for once, it's not the main light, that's the creative ground idea of the entire shot, but this strong effect light from the left. On this one, I was working quite some time. And in the end, it turned out that the snoot with aperture mask and grids actually give the light I want. So I want to have the tiniest possible spot. That's why I use narrow grids and medium grids. They do not do a lot, but they still make it a little bit more narrow. And then because it's still too wide, I as well add the aperture mask. So aperture mask is always in the front. So aperture mask goes in, then thin or narrow honeycomb grids, medium honeycomb grids, and everything is fixed here with this spring kept nicely in position. I could have, let's say, I could have worked differently by using only the narrow grids, but no aperture masks. I would have been able to create the same circle of light, but from a shorter distance. Of course, for the same circle of light, I would have had to work from here. And if you go closer with your light shape, you change the light characteristics. In this situation, the shadows would become softer, and I would like to work with quite dominant, strong, clearly visible shadows. So that's why I take this light as far away as possible and then limit the light angle with the grids. This gives me the strongest possible shadow. All right. Good. Yes, put this one on. I'm cheating this time a little bit. Let me fix it. All right, good. It's not here, it's not yet in. Now it's in. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit because the Picolites are in position already from the preparation shot. Sometimes you just lose a lot of time, a millimeter to the left, a millimeter to the right, and this is really not interesting for you guys to watch. So that's why I have left the Picolites in position. I just took the light shapers off just to be able to finish the entire shot in something like 45 minutes to 1 hour. So that's why I took this shortcut. Right, let's have a look at this light first, which means I switch the other two off. So that's the new light we are watching. It's right now it's on 100 joules as well. So in the end, the same power like the Pico box, but the Pico box, of course, comes in a very strange angle from below the table, tilt away from the object, while this one is straight on. So even if they have joule-wise the same power, I expect this one to be obviously a lot stronger. Right, so sharing, capture one window again. Here we go. I just want to make sure that you see this as well. Yep, it's appearing, and there we go. So that's the main light. Okay, good. So very important for me is that we have dominant gradations. First of all, I would like to see the shadows everywhere, and I would like to have dominant gradations that fade into black quite fast, especially here on the left. Because if this spotlight, if I have this white value over here on the left, of course, I can forget about the reflections of the white cap and the red area of my lip paint. So it's very important that I have a very high contrast here. It's important as well that I have light here. And now, even with this only light, you see, it's a matte surface. It was illuminated before, and now it's not. How can I explain this? So before I illuminated it from the front. So the matte surface reflected light, but not the shiny writing of the brand name. Now we have exactly the opposite position or situation. We have light here on the table that illuminates the shiny part here, the shiny brand name, but it's almost invisible on the object itself. And we have there an average of 19, so it's not a complete black, but it's very, very dark. And the hope is, of course, that if I combine two shots, that I have a correct exposure, and at the same time that I can read the brand name. But that's what I said before. Because when I was setting it up, I had the main light more to the right, and then this shadow went a little bit more to the left and just covered the background where actually the reflection needs the light. All right. Then down here, I take care that the gradation is as well visible, that the light fades away into dark. Very important as well in my eyes that we have a lit area here between the shadow of the object and the next object, so that we have here this light, this small white area. The same here on the other side. Otherwise, it's just fading away. I don't see the contours anymore. So this is that's why I wanted to have very clear shadows as well. And then here on the right side as well, dominant gradation, very dark, very soon, but still clearly visible the end of the shadow. So let's switch on the lights one by one, that we can see the evolution of the shot again. So we started with the effect light projecting attachment from the right. Then we filled in with the Pico box from below the table. That's this one. And number 3, little late, probably the main light. And that's what we have so far. Exactly. Right. Okay, so here it still works. And actually, I'm quite lucky now because the gradation, if you look at the circular light of my spot, it goes nicely all around here. And it seems that it goes over into the reflection of my lying object. It looks very simple now, but believe me, this took quite some time until this really worked like this. So that's what I did not want to do this now today during the live shoot, because that's just boring to play with this light, I don't know, 15 minutes or even longer. So that's why we went on the shortcut. But I just showed the elements I'm looking at, that we have a clear separation from the shadows to the neighboring object, and that we have a logical gradation, that the gradation of the spot corresponds nicely with the gradation that is created from the reflection of the object back on the table. Very good. So what's still dark? This area here is still a little dark because it's, of course, on the other side of the effect light. It's on top of something, so the fill-in light, the Pico box, cannot reach there. And the main light, as well, the main light is more on the left. You can see it, you can estimate the position of the main light when you follow the shadow. So the main light is as well more on the left, so that's why we do not have any light there. That's why we have the light number 4. And this last light, let me just unshare the screen quickly. So the last light will be the Fresnel. I would not exchange this one with anything else. Definitely not the projecting attachment must be this light. Pico box must be this light. Let's say the Fresnel, we could exchange it. I could probably place here the projecting attachment or the honeycomb grids. Most probably it would work as well. Just a difference for those that are not familiar with Fresnel spots, the difference between a Fresnel and a grid, they are both little spots. Here we have the option or the possibility to adjust the light angle seamlessly. So I don't have to decide, do I take the wide grids or the narrow grids or the intermediate ones? No, I can adjust the light angle very, very precisely and seamless. If we look at the power outlet, honeycomb grids, they are focusing the light because they burn the light that tries to go left or right. So we actually focusing the light, we center-weight the light by burning the light that goes to both sides. So we are destroying light. The Fresnel spot works differently. The Fresnel, it's like an optical system, it's a lens. The Fresnel redirects the light that would like to go left and right. So we are focusing by redirecting the light, and that's why we have a much higher light output from a Fresnel spot compared to a grid. And that's why we are in a very luxury situation here. You see that we only use a very small opening. If you work with optical systems, and the Fresnel spot is nothing else than an optical system, it's important that we have a point light source, that we have a small light source. Of course, we cannot have a point, but at least we can shrink down the effective light source. So we are not using the entire Picolite in the end. No, we shrink the size down to just, I guess it's like 1.5, 2 centimeters, so a very tiny, small, precise light source, because we are redirecting the light and it's a spot. So we have by far enough light from the Pico attachment. From the illumination, if we compare it with the Fresnel is center-weighted as well, but it's a slow gradation. So the grids start from nothing, from black, and then it's becoming slightly brighter, until we reach the hotspot. You can see this in the picture as well. There is actually not even illuminated area, and then we have gradations. No, it's really one gradation from the very center, soft, long gradations, all to the peripheric. A Fresnel spot works slightly differently. The illumination, the coverage of a Fresnel spot is more even, and then the edge transfer, so that the edge of the light, the end of the light is more sharp. So if you would like to have like a theatrical effect, like a spotlight that creates a clearly defined circular light on the scene, I would rather go for a Fresnel than for the grids. And if this circular projection has to be absolutely sharp, then of course it's the projecting attachment. So in a way, that's something precision-wise, something in between. Put this onto this one. Fix it, switch it on. And we remember what I want this light to do. I want this light to fill in the ring on the top right, more or less. So to have a guess what this light does. Again, I switch all other lights off and I fire light number 4, the Fresnel. All right, good, there we go. Maybe I should switch this one on. Yeah, they're all off now, so that's why the picture looks relatively dark. Okay, now it works. Okay, and not okay. Okay, so what do I want from this light? I want from this light that it illuminates the ring here. We remember on the top right, so exactly here, I had no light. But now it's exactly this happening, what I do not want, that this light hits as well the table, destroying, also creating additional shadows, very ugly, destroying my color effects, blah, blah, blah. So that's not what I want. First of all, I want a brighter screen here. Okay, good. So I have to take care of this. Trick number 1 would be to place the Fresnel below the table, like the Pico box. But then, of course, the light is not going on top of the object. So that's why the Pico box is not illuminating me, is not illuminating the ring. So I have to find a different solution with a little bit of improvisation, which is always taking place in a studio. I have to protect the table from this light. So I just put a black box here and another cardboard box over there. Let's have a look. Maybe this is already enough. I'll show you this high-tech construction later on. Try this again. Okay, better, but I have to close in front. Oh, that's coming from there, okay. So I close this like that. Next try. So I just put tiny boxes, flags in front of it. Still not doing what I want. Oh, I have to check the focus. Of course, I played with it. Yeah, of course. I made a demonstration before, and the light is completely defocused. So the light angle was very open. The light went to the right and to the left. So that's why it's going. That's why it's passing on the left and on the right. So I did not reposition my boxes right now. I just focus it. Exactly. This looks better. First of all, it's more light. And it's not disturbing anymore in the front. Just through the ring, there's something coming. Let me try to reduce this a little bit more. Maybe like this, close here. Okay, so it should be more black. Yeah, I think that's okay, yeah. It's illuminating here, it's illuminating quite strongly. Almost too much of a fill-in already. So I can reduce it in power, maybe a third of a stop. 1, 2, 3, down. And this means that the little bit of light hitting the background. But if I go to meter here, it's an 11 black, so I don't worry too much about this. Now I went down with the power, so it will even be darker. Now I have back there, I have a 10, 8. Okay, so that's absolutely dark enough. So no effect, just illuminating here the ring. Always a good advice is to, if you add additional lights, and if you add, let's say, like this box there, that you go back and shoot again light by light to make sure that we have nothing overseen. Exactly, this works. It starts here a little bit that probably my little white box that blocks some of the Fresnel spot reflects here a little bit, but this will be anyway out of the picture frame, so I'm not worrying too much about that. Most probably, if I had the time, if nobody wants to finish in 10 minutes, I would probably replace this white box. Unfortunately, it's a white box right now. I would probably replace it with a black box, and then the problem is definitively solved. Okay, light number 1, fill in from below works. Main light on. Main light, the dominant spot. Yeah. And last but not least, the fill. We haven't seen this one yet, so this one is supposed to be there in combination all together. Just, it's too strong. It's still too strong because it's almost as strong as the main light, so I definitely can take this one back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's almost like a main light, the new main light coming there from the right. All right, something like this could make sense. I think we are a little bit strong from the top light. Let me meter here in the center. We are at 227. Yeah, it's very bright. One thing is the metering part of it, so the scientific part. The other thing is what do my eyes tell me? And my eyes tell me it's too bright. So I rather believe my eyes than any light meter. So it's not this one, it's number 2. Yes, so I take this one down. 1, 2, 3. Good. So we give it another try. So I took the main light down 1/3 of a stop, and I took the fill-in light down as well, 2/10 actually. So everything will be a little bit more moody, a little bit darker. Exactly. So this looks actually quite pleasant, quite promising. Let me check on the sharpness. Yes, good. Up. You see this? So I'm cutting here. This black corner, I'm cutting this with my braking attachment. So that's not good. That's the other power pack. So I switch this one off quickly, and here I go on full modeling light. I'm cutting it there. It's on the right, so with the templates it's on the left. Okay. Just this little detail here. Test. Okay, yes and no. Yes, the light is there, but no, it's too much. And as I said, this would now really be easier if you saw with the modeling light what you're doing. But now it's a little bit of a blind flight. Yep. Okay, perfect. So the line is there. I estimate I see a little bit here, so it's not a direct light, so just a little bit of reflection, but definitely with the main light, this will be gone. So yes, now the main light or the effect light is doing what I want, and we can go back to all the lights, and we are close to the final exposure. Exactly something like that. Makes sense in my eyes. All right, and let me talk quickly about the camera. What I've done right now, I closed all the way down to f14. The real shot that I made in when I was preparing it, I made it at 11. The lens closes down to max 22. So shooting at 16 or now at 14 is for me the limit of the lens. You know, if you have a very narrow aperture, of course there's some diffraction happening, some optical, some physical rules that the light is not only going straight through the little hole, but a little bit around the corner. So I would rather prefer to do this on f11 maybe, and then to shoot 5 or 6 exposures. Actually, the final shot I took 5 photographs with different focus planes and mixed them in post-production with focus stacking. Exactly, but now for this demo, it was absolutely sufficient. I was focusing to the first third, so when the light comes from, when the camera comes from here, so the top of the lip liner is probably the closest, and then this point here would be the furthest, and so which means 1/3 is somewhere the ring here, somewhere around the rose. This would be like in the first third, because the sharpness increases 2/3 to the back and 1/3 to the front, and like this I have a realistic chance that this photograph is sharp at the very end. All right. I put this quickly away, checking if we have questions. There is one. Why doesn't Urs use the app as opposed to walking to each pack? This would show the advantage of bronc control. With these webinars, I work the way I work daily in the studio, and I like to touch things. Okay, so it's not about the power. You have seen this. This one was too weak, so I focused it, and it became stronger. This one just moved a little bit. So this is such a tiny, small set. And now just the computer is further away. Most of the time, let's say I would have the computer here. So I have my lights, computer. So why would I use the app in this situation? It's just, it would be confusing. It's a different story if I work on a big set. If I work on fashion, if I work outdoors, if I work for furniture sets, and I have if my lights are several meters away, then of course I use the app either from a portable device or as well from the desktop. But in this situation, it was always about adjusting the power, fiddling on the lights. So it's not just a power thing. It's definitely about touching the lights, redirecting the lights, putting them a little lower, tilting them, focusing them. And this I can't do via the app. So me personally, I want to touch things. I want to be close, and especially if it's really a setup that happens on 4 square meters. Me personally, I don't see an advantage of the app. I see the advantage of the app if we work on bigger sets. Right. Any other questions about the light setup? I didn't talk too much about the power packs. Just let me summarize it quickly for you. So again, working on ISO 100 f16. The main light has 1200 joules, the fill-in light 100, the main light just below 100, and this one I'm too tired to calculate, so I just go quickly into the menu, and the Fresnel has 20 joules. So we have from 1200 joules all the way down to 20 joules, so very wide asymmetry, and that's definitely one of the advantages of this whole system. so that I can put the lights in the position where they belong to, even below the table, or I just use the little bit of reflection from the object back on the table. So I use my lights the way I want creatively. I chose the aperture before, and then I just press buttons until the power pack does exactly what I want. And now we have a crazy asymmetry. Nevertheless, it works perfectly with 2 power packs. Right. Okay. There are no more questions coming in, so there's no reason to extend this because I have nothing else to say, except thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for spending this almost an hour with me. This was the last webinar for this year. And so if you attended other ones, thank you very much. You will have, right after we finish here, you will be guided to a questionnaire. And if you have specific wishes about future webinars, please let us know, because we definitely will come back with this kind of demonstrations next year. But for the moment, that's it. Thank you very much once again for your time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye from the studio. Ciao.